different faith traditions. This is really a moment in time, a history-making time that we do not take for granted. It is a Kairos time, and I want to go through my presentation. Is it ready? Oh, I need to click something. I'm dating myself. You know, with this technology, is this the one? I never know which one. Oh, okay. Sorry, I'm dating myself. Can you just start it for me? Forward is that one and backwards. Okay. So forward is there. Oh, I can watch that. No, it's because my eyesight is a bit, yeah. As you can see from the title, it says that what is our faith? A Kairos moment. We are talking about a Kairos moment. So when we talk in Kairos, we are talking about time. Time is divided into two: chronos, which is chronological time. Today is the 16th of November. Yesterday was the 15th. Tomorrow is the 17th. So it's a kind of time that we are used to, the one that is in our diaries. But when we are talking about Kairos, we are saying that there's sometimes in life, in history, a moment where we need to act, where we need to make a decision to act, and that is what Kairos is. That's why we are saying that this is a Kairos moment. Is it clear there? Yeah, I think let me come closer here. So when we look at the Kairos document that was published in South Africa in 1985, it says the time has come. The time is right now. The moment of truth has arrived. South Africa has been plunged into a crisis that is shaking the foundations, and there's every indication that the crisis has just begun. So you can see by the date that we are talking about the time of the apartheid era. So when we're talking about Kairos, we are talking this time, that this is the time to act. And I was so happy that there was a commitment from every religion to say, enough talk, we need to act now. So this is what it's saying, it is a time for decisive action. And it's so serious because if we don't act today, if we don't do anything, this time will just go. We will miss an opportunity. And that's what Kairos is all about, a reminder. So there you can see the African bird, the Sankofa. You can see something unusual. It is flying forward with its head turned backwards, collecting something, collecting an egg. It is actually communicating that, Sankofa means to go back and get it. We need to go back and get the lessons and get the wisdom that is in our collective history. It is not wrong to go back and take that which is forgotten. Sankofa also refers by a bird with its head turned backwards while its feet are facing forward, carrying a precious egg in its mouth. This symbolizes from the past what is good and bringing it to the present. So that's the context of the Kairos that we're going to be discussing. To say before we fly forward, let's look back. Let's look back and let's take the lessons and let's move with that. So what are we retrieving? What are the eggs that we are retrieving? We are retrieving your memory as religions. And I think Lukolo mentioned that the religions were united in the struggle against injustice and oppression. So there's a continuity here. This is not the first time. There's a history behind what we are doing today. It's a legacy of religions interrogating the sacred text. They realized that the perpetuation of injustice was sometimes justified by interpretation of sacred texts. And they began to challenge those interpretations and say, we can do better. Our faith speaks about justice and righteousness and peace. So there's a legacy that once upon a time that was done, and we are building, we are standing on a rock solid foundation. So it's a legacy of united action together with civil society and political leadership. Actually, it's saying that this is the time where the faith sector sits together with other civil society and government, and we take our place. This is the time, this is the Kairos moment for us to do just that. We don't operate in isolation, we operate in partnership, and we bring the unique resources that we have from our faith traditions. And you heard that. That was gold, that was riches that we take with in order to bring the transformation that is required. So the statistics speak for themselves, so I'm not going to go into that, and this is why we are gathered. But I want to make a point there, that when we're looking at GBV, in order to make substantive progress, we need to depersonalize that. Somebody will say, that man or that woman, look at them, they must be crazy. And it seems as if these people drop from the sky. These people who are perpetrators come from our communities, come from our home. They don't come from another planet. So there must be something going on in our faith communities, in our culture, in our society, that seems to come to somebody, gives one person kind of permission to say, I have the power to harm another. So that's why it's important to depersonalize it. We can personalize it, but we need to know that in order to shift, we need to depersonalize and ask ourselves, who are part of the faith communities and who are part of society, what is it that we are saying, that we are doing, that is allowing this to happen? It's not an accident, it's not random. It is a fruit of our theology, it is a fruit of our culture. So we need to be questioning the root causes, the systemic. And a lot of things, given a divine baptism, this is God's will. Woman to be inferior, you brought sin into the world, right? So we're going to make sure that's an eternal punishment. So our statement is clear. We want to recognize and we want to act. And I don't want to emphasize that because it's coming. And then we spoke about from rhetoric to action. And this is such an important thing, because when we think that our faith is about sacred text, we miss the point. When people go Sunday after Sunday or Friday after Friday into our faith spaces, they are hearing something, they are praying, they are singing. And it is in those spaces that patriarchy sits there, hidden, invisible.
Yep.
And so that if we are only tackling one, patriarchy goes to bed unworried, unbothered. So we need to understand this package that consists of the expression of faith. The beliefs, we can tackle that. The sacred texts, we can tackle that. But the liturgy, the repetition. What are those repetitions saying and doing? Because that's where the shaping is happening. That's what we call the hidden curriculum. You see, patriarchy is not stupid. It's not going to say, I am patriarchy, I'm coming to oppress women, go for it, gender-based violence. No. That's why it has persisted for centuries. It just sits there, unnoticed, under the radar. And we need to go under the radar and examine our liturgy and the artwork around our churches. Can a little girl step into our faith spaces and feel immediately affirmed by what she sees around in terms of art, by the music that she hears, by the text that she hears? Because unless we integrate every one of those aspects of faith, patriarchy goes to bed unbothered. So we need to look at our hymns, our artwork, even our leadership. Who is standing there with authority? Who is standing? Where are the women? And we need to be questioning that, because that communicates to that little girl when she sees sitting on that bench only males. It speaks volumes. It's not just saying to her, it's telling her you're excluded. You're not worthy to be sitting there. And when she sees that time and time again, it becomes something that is ingrained. So we need to tackle all aspects of the expression of faith and the practice, because patriarchy is hiding. It's very, very intelligent. It's hiding and perpetuating every single time we meet. And unless we begin to tackle all those expressions of faith, patriarchy just goes to bed and just says, keep going, you're not touching me. So the vision, and also to say that the vision for justice never ends. And I think that's one of the Sankofa moments that we need to retrieve, because we thought 1995, 1994, we're all good and stopped working. But we need to know that eradicating gender-based violence is a journey. We are journeying towards a society where everyone is free to flourish, a religion that is non-patriarchal. So we are looking at centuries to bring us to where we are. So we need to know that this work that we are doing is going to take time. We need to be involved. We need to be at it day in and day out. Because that's how patriarchy operates. Hidden, nice, non-threatening, but we need to be able to see ourselves as the ones that are active. And the other thing that I wanted to also say that that eradicating GBV is a step towards eradicating all forms of violence in society. We don't relax. We saw that when we relax after democracy, we allowed every kind of inequality to flourish. So when we commit ourselves today, it's long term. We will die maybe with just a fraction of movement, but we need to keep going. We need to pass on the baton to the next generation. This is century work, and we need to be able to sustain it long term. We have received it after centuries. If we are going to change it, we need to have that big picture in front of us. So we need a vision. It's one thing to come up with a vocabulary to say we are condemning patriarchy, but what are we saying yes to? What is the language that can communicate to the young people that women and men are equal, that violence is not a way of relating, that in society all the systems that are driving violence are completely opposed to our faith? What is the language? Patriarchy. If you go to look for a dictionary, they've got words like that. So we need to put words to our vision. We need to start generating vocabulary so that even in how we speak about our faith, how we speak about women, like one of the words that I try to say to women in the Christian Bible, it says that women were created to be helpers. And that word is Eza, but that's the same word that is used to describe God. So when we think of helper, not in our thinking, but in the way it is in our context, we realize we are powerful beings. We don't need to apologize. We are powerful beings. We are described as image bearers of God, as people of equal dignity. And we need sustaining vocabulary so that that little girl hears that all the time. Hears that all the time in the hymns, in the liturgy, in the prayers. And slowly but surely that becomes the identity. And even a little boy hears that and he realizes that women are equal. These are partners. This is how to relate. And we begin to shift the narratives with our words, with our concepts. So that's where the hard work comes. That's where the hard work comes. And as we do that, so words are critical in our struggle to transform our faith traditions. I'm going to be, And then I will come again, before I end with the quotation from the father of the nation and who symbolizes, freedom and equity. I want to say that let's not ignore the other resources that are in our communities. Not all men are perpetrators of violence. There are many who are wonderful fathers, wonderful husbands. Let's draw those as resources. Let's draw on what is working right in our community. And even while we do that, we need to also open ourselves to the other stories, because there are people with disabilities. There are LGBTI people that are excluded. So let's ensure that our gender justice work leaves nobody behind. Everyone needs to find a home in our pursuit for justice. So I just want to summarize that and with these words, because I felt they were so relevant. Ndate Mandela says, I have walked that long road to freedom. So it's not a shortcut, it's not something that we will do, but we continuously put the mechanisms in order for it to be a long-term transformation. He says, I have walked that long road to freedom. I have tried not to falter, so it's not easy. I have made missteps along the way, but I have discovered the secret that after climbing a great hill, one only finds that there are more hills to climb. So we will see that after climbing the gender-based violence femicide hill, we'll discover that there are still more sides of liberation that we need to do. It's a never-ending quest because we are aiming to ensure that no one is ever left behind in our own struggles for gender justice. So he says you'll see many more hills to climb. I've taken a moment here to rest, to steal a view of the glorious vista that surrounds me, to look back on the distance I have come. But I come only for a moment, for with freedom comes responsibilities, and I dare not linger, for my long walk is not ended. So we are starting today. We have arrived at this point, but we need to know that we have a long way. And all we do, as the Chinese tell us, that a journey of 1,000 miles begins with one step. We do the next thing. We correct our liturgy. We correct our artwork. We ensure that the leadership is inclusive, that there is a woman, there is a man, there is a person with disabilities, different ethnic groups, different sexualities, that we normalize what has been verified. This is the task that we are here for. It is a Kairos moment. Dear brothers and sisters, if we ignore or if we just make this another conference without any action, we not only miss the opportunities, we betray our role in society. We betray South Africa, we betray the world, because we are called for such a time as this. We have all those resources that we saw when our faith leaders came up and made the commitments. So I want to thank you for listening to me, and I hope that in the afternoon we make it concrete so that all expressions of faith for a little girl communicate without ambiguity that she has dignity, and for a little boy that women have dignity, and that violence is not the way of relating. So thank you very much.
Thank you very much.